color wheel art challenge. I'm Ant217 and I'm gonna use this color wheel to draw a fan art for each color on the wheel. Let's get started. The first color is going to be the red color. And the character that I chose to draw is the amazing, the fantastic, the incredible Elastigirl. Ha! Pun. See what I did there? Because she's Mrs. Incredible. I want to share with you some of the rules I put in place to do this challenge. Rule number one is I want to draw them sexy. Everyone is going to be sexy. Rule number two, I can't draw two characters in the same universe. So if I draw sexy Squidward, I can't draw SpongeBob as well. And rule number three is like and subscribe, please. Also, I want to confess something. Elastigirl was not my first choice for the red character. I was gonna draw Meredith from Brave, but I couldn't decide if her hair is orange or red. So, I switched it. You know your boy's flexible. Another pun. Also, since I wanted to draw characters sexy, picking Elastigirl was easy because, well, she's hot. I'm not a pervert. Another thing I want to point out is that I'm going to have some of the characters in the circle interacting with each other. So I am going to finish drawing Elastigirl's arm a little bit later in the process. Usually I would draw the two characters that are interacting at the same time, like back to back, I guess. But I want to go in color order, so I'll finish her arm a little bit later. I did want to draw her a little bit more curvy because, well, she's Elastigirl. She can stretch and bend her body so the way she wants it. That means she can look like she has a BBL without having to go to the doctor. Yeah, jealous. So it may look like she's a little bit disproportionate. Not that some of you people look disproportionate, but that was the style that I went for, so I think she looks incredible. I finished her up by adding some shadow under her logo and on her legs, add some nice lighting, and here she is, my Mrs. Incredible. Now for the orange color, I didn't even hesitate. I knew exactly which character I wanted to draw, and that is Velma Dinkley from Scooby-Doo. I love Velma. She was one of my favorite characters. I love how intelligent she was, how smart she was, and the fact that she pretty much was the one to always figure out all the mysteries. I think they would have been lost without her. And I felt like they downplayed her beauty. They made her wear this baggy sweater, not showing none of her voluptuous curves. And I wanted to showcase some of that, because I'm pretty sure Velma had brains and booty. I mean, beauty. Brains and beauty. I am drawing her again in my style, so I'm gonna do a couple of changes here, like make that sweater a little bit tighter to show her voluptuous bosoms, and also I want to change her hair a little bit. It's still that short haircut, but I gave it a little bit more style. I also want to point out that she is holding a magnifying glass because I want the characters interacting. So she's looking at Elastigirl like, I see you're doing something and I'm searching for clues. Well, don't search for clues no more, Velma. Search for my love. I got some riz, yo. You gonna unmask the Wizard of Oz? Another pun. I want to share a tip with you guys. When I draw glasses, I struggle a little bit. Not that drawing glasses is hard, it's just keeping the line straight, making sure it's in the right place on the face. It's a difficult thing and it's kind of annoying and tedious. So I draw the glasses on a separate layer. So if I don't like the way it looks, I can just delete the layer, make it invisible, or do whatever it is I need to do. So keep it on a separate layer, because if you mess up, you can just delete the layer without being so destructive and erasing your actual drawing and just start over. That's just how I do my glasses. I also like that when the glasses are on a separate layer, you can drag and drop it and see the eyes underneath, and that helps to make sure that the eyes are in the right place as well as the glasses. I move on to the coloring and then move on to the rendering. I add some nice shadows and some really, really nice lighting. Real nice lighting can make your image really just pop. I also want to point out that I use a hard brush and an airbrush. I know some artists say do not use the airbrush because it can make your rendering look a little bit muddy, but if you get some nice blending in there, then your airbrush can really work to your advantage. But again, I use both. But if you do have a muddy look to your rendering, I separate my shadows on another layer and I just lower the opacity, and that could get a nice blended look. I give her some orange freckles, which is a common theme I do for the entire color wheel. Every character has the color that they are assigned to as freckles on their face. I love freckles, they're cute. And Jinkies, Velma, you never look better. What are we gonna Scooby-Dooby-Doo with you? Next color is yellow. And for that one, I'm gonna go way back in time to my very first waifu, Misty from Pokemon. For those of you who don't know who she is, that means you young. I'm old. She is a part of the original Pokemon seasons. She was Ash's first human companion. I know Ash always has a new girl he hangs out with. Ha! Ash, you dog. But Misty was the original companion. She was my favorite character in the show. She was my very first crush. I loved Misty. She was funny. She was kind of mean, but she was still cute. Huh. Maybe I like mean girls. Maybe I like a little bit of abuse. Right, baby?
Shut up.
She's such a kidder. I always felt Misty was just being mean because she had a crush on Ash, and I have the Pokemon soundtrack, and there's a song in there from Misty confessing her love. Just saying. I don't know if it's canon, but it's canon for me. I had to draw Misty holding a Pokeball because some of you don't know that she is a Pokemon master, so she has to use that Pokeball to catch all her Pokemon. She can throw the Pokeball like she's throwing bobs at me, and I'm finna catch them all. I had a little bit of trouble drawing this character because I kind of drew her tilted. And I should have drawn her regular and then tilted her so she can match the color wheel. It would have been easier to draw her pose that way. So I had to kind of correct her pose by using the liquify tool. I still feel like it can be a little bit more manipulated. I wanted a nice S curve in her pose, and that means her shoulders and her hips, they have to kind of be perpendicular to each other. As I'm coloring Misty, I noticed that it might not be enough yellow. Only her shirt is yellow, and I don't want anybody complaining that I didn't use enough of the color, so I added sign. I absolutely love Misty's design. Her yellow crop top, obviously, I made it a little bit shorter, and I thought her suspenders were super cute. When I'm doing the rendering, at first, it kind of looks a little too dark and muddy, but I do that because I like to have my darks dark and my lights light, and I can control the darkness of the rendering by just lowering the transparency of the layer. That's why I put all my rendering layers on separate layers. I use a combination of cell shading and painterly look, so every cell shaded area, it's a separate layer, and I can lower the transparency to control the darkness. So it looks muddy at first, but I lower that down and it starts to blend and look a lot nicer. It's no mystery that Misty is the water gym leader because she's making me. Moving on to the next color. It's green, and if you don't know who this character is, that means I'm definitely old. I'm gonna be drawing a character from the show Kim Possible. This was one of my favorite characters in the show, obviously after Ron, who was the best character, but I'm drawing the super villain Shego. She was the main henchwoman for the main villain, but we all know she was the muscle. She was the real baddie because she bad. I'm gonna give that half a point. I loved Shego's design. The half black, half green costume was amazing. I loved that design aspect, and I loved her powers. She was so cool. She was kind of nonchalant, like she knew she was really cool, and that's so cool. And she had superpowers, and I liked superpowers. So she is a lot of fun to draw. Obviously, I am changing her costume just a little bit. I'm going to leave a window to her soul. Her soul, people. Her heart's in there. Perverts. Rendering her was pretty easy because, well, she's green and black. I didn't have to separate everything into a bunch of layers. And rendering black, it's not that difficult because, well, it's black. If you use a very dark black to begin with, then rendering it becomes a little bit more, I guess, problematic because what's darker than pure black? But I think it worked out. I usually use like a very dark purple or very dark blue for my blacks because I don't like to use pure black, but I feel like it worked for this one. I added her fire to show that she has powers, and it also adds a more green element because she is the green color on my color wheel. Here it is, my green character, Shego. She looks awesome, she's beautiful. Don't mess with her because she go crazy. I love the way she came out, the beautiful Shego, but now we go to the next color. The next color in the color wheel is blue, and I did something a little bit different. I know one of the rules were that I'm gonna make everybody super hot and super sexy, but I couldn't do that for this character. This character is Bubbles from Powerpuff Girls. Now, originally I was gonna age her up, make her an adult, and make her hot. And if that's what you wanted, then I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but that's not what I'm doing here. I felt like most of Bubbles' appeal is that she's a cute little friendly girl, but she can still kick your butt. And I decided to keep her a cute little girl. Sorry. I am drawing her though in a semi-realistic style, more my style. I didn't want to draw her in her regular cartoony look. I kind of wanted her to match everybody else. So I changed her style. To keep her looking young, I gave her very squishy, loving, big cheeks. Her eyes are a little bit bigger. Her head is a little bit bigger. When you're drawing younger characters, their head tends to look bigger because their body is a lot smaller. Usually when you're drawing a character, they say that you should draw the character a certain number of heads height tall. So you take their head and you stack them on top of each other until they're a certain amount of heads height. Does that make sense? You can draw a character that usually will be 7, 8, 9 heads tall, whatever, it doesn't matter. You do what you want. But when you're drawing a child character, then that number is drastically less. So instead of 8 heads tall, the character will be 3 or 4 heads tall. Now, I didn't actually measure it, but I just wanted to point that out because her head is a little bit big for her body, and that helps make her look younger. And because Bubbles has powers, I wanted to show my powers and jump straight into the coloring. So, aw, snap. Again, while I'm rendering, she looks a little bit muddy, but I am gonna lower that transparency and it's gonna make her look beautiful and cute. I want to point out that her pose is very cutesy. She's standing there with her pigtails, with her hand on her face and looking sideways like, I don't know what's happening over there. I don't know what Elastigirl is doing to mess with the other character. You know, I wanted to have her involved in that situation to show that she's cute and innocent. I add a little bit of red to her cheeks to give her a little bit rosy cheeks, like she's blushing, and there should be red in cheeks usually. Here it is, my Bubbles with a little bit of sugar, spice, and everything nice. Oh wait, I forgot the chemical. Next. Moving on to the next character, I'm gonna be like Thanos and snap the sketch right on in. This character is probably gonna make some of you unhappy because there's not a whole lot of dark blue in the character, but I still wanted to choose this character because I absolutely love her. She's one of my favorite characters from Ed, Edd and Eddy, my absolute favorite cartoon as a child. If you don't know that cartoon, please do yourself a favor and go watch it. It's one of the best cartoons. Well, in that show, Ed, Edd and Eddy, there are these 3 characters called the Canker Sisters, and they have crushes on the Ed boys, and they don't really know how to express that. So instead of being nice and telling them I like you, they are very, very mean to the Ed boys. Huh. Another one who's very abusive. I like the abusive ones apparently, right baby? Shut up. She's such a kidder. I absolutely love her blue hair, and I loved her character design, her outfit, her tank top. Obviously I made it shorter, it's more of a belly shirt tank top thing. And I also want to point out that I finally can finish Elastigirl's arm, because Elastigirl is going to be interacting with the Canker sister, so now I know where the arm is going to be. I kind of wish that I made her a little bit hotter, because if you Google Marie Canker being hot, you're welcome. No, don't do that. Don't do that, nasties. I'm not responsible for you guys getting in trouble for people seeing your browser history, but if you do check it out, you're welcome. There's a lot of reference photos of her, I'm gonna say that, and I felt like mine is not hot enough. As I'm looking at her, I'm thinking on ways on how to make her more appealing. Maybe I should have made her shirt a little bit shorter, but I do like it. I feel like I do need to add some more blue though. So I add some blue eye makeup and some blue lipstick. I want to make her fit the blue part of the color wheel a little bit more. And I don't want you guys saying I cheated, that it's not enough blue. And maybe it's still not enough blue, but I like it. I continue by adding some strands of hair to the top of her head. And here she is, my Marie Canker. Moving on to the next color. The next color is purple. And I'm going to start with some magic words in honor of our character, Yumo Guegoi Fai Mi Tao. Wait. Wrong magic words. Azarath Metreon Synthos. For my purple character, I'm doing none other than Raven from Teen Titans. My absolute favorite cartoon girl. Am I weird for having a favorite cartoon girl? I love Raven. She's beautiful. Now, I know Raven, sometimes she's depicted in blue and sometimes she's purple, so I'm not really sure what the standard is. I went with purple to match the color on the color wheel because I didn't want to draw her for blue because I wanted to draw Marie. And yeah, so I made her purple. I don't really have a preference of which version of Raven I like more. It doesn't matter. I love Raven. She is very stoic, very rude, very mean. Huh. Maybe I need some therapy. What do you think, baby?
Shut up.
Such a kidder. I gotta tell you guys right now that Raven is my favorite character on this color wheel. I love drawing her. The drawing looks amazing to me. I thought my favorite was going to be Velma, but Raven took her out of the throne because I loved this drawing and it made me feel good as an artist to draw this one, okay? I was looking at this drawing and like, damn, I'm a beast, boy! Yeah! Is that the last pun? Maybe. Maybe I could squeeze in a few more. I did a little bit of redesigning to her costume to show her beautiful, beautiful heart and her bosoms for you perverts. Not for me though. Not for me. I'm not a pervert. I didn't want to see that. I wanted to see her heart. As I'm coloring Raven, I realized that she has a chain belt around her body and I didn't want to draw all the chains because, well, I'm lazy. And I use Clip Studio and Clip Studio has these free brush assets. I suggest that you always use the assets available to you. Okay, some people say that's cheating, but the assets are there for you to use and who cares what people say?
I want to give you guys another tip, and this tip is for the eyes. After you put down the flat colors for the iris, get the shadow color and using a soft brush with a clipping mask, paint in the shadows. The clipping mask makes it that you don't have to worry about getting out of the lines. After that, make a new layer on multiply and use a grunge brush to paint in that texture. You can mess with the transparency to get the look that you like. If you go on Google and look up a close-up of the eye, you can see a beautiful pattern. And you don't want to have to actually paint that pattern in. Instead, using the grunge brush kind of fakes that texture. And it looks beautiful. It looks even better if you use a pupil. Also, adding that lighting reflecting off the eyes makes it pop. And there you go, you have beautiful eyes right there. However, I don't use pupils, it's just not my style, so I will be removing that. But still, use that grunge brush.
I continue rendering Raven using cell shaded and painterly look, give her a nice dark lipstick, and I move on to what I call the highlights. Spelled A-A-H. It's an acronym, and it stands for awesome at highlights. The second A stands for that other word that means booty, but it starts with an A. But YouTube don't like that word. I add the highlights to the iris, to the corner of the eyes, to the nose, and to the bottom lip. It makes some of these parts look juicy. Look at that. It makes you just go, And here it is, my favorite character here, my favorite girl, Raven from Teen Titans. Moving on to the next color and the last color, and that is pink. For this one, I don't know if you're gonna be happy with the choice of character because there's not a lot of pink in her character, but I really felt like drawing her. And I picked Louise Belcher from Bob's Burgers. Louise is one of my favorite characters to draw because Bob's Burgers is one of my favorite TV shows right now. It just makes me so happy. So I had to draw her. I drew her recently in another video where I draw Louise Belcher in 3 different styles, and one of those styles is my style. Now, I felt like it was a little bit too realistic, so I wanted to give it a retry, and that's why I picked her for the color wheel. And if you want to watch that video, which it is amazing, the link will be in the description. But I wanted to draw Louise again, and I wanted to follow my rules, so I kind of aged her a little bit, made her a little bit older so that I can make her cuter, and I changed her costuming from that green dress to a green crop top and a short green skirt. I feel like Louise Belcher is one of the greatest character designs I've ever seen because no matter what style I draw her in, she's still recognizable. With those big ears and that green dress, it's still really hard to say, who is that character? We know who that character is. It's Louise Belcher. Beautiful design. I picked a really cute, innocent looking pose, but if you know the show, then you know that when she has a little crush on you, she will slap you. She's a little mean. So you better start your bobbing and weaving. Ha! Bobbing and weaving. because she's from Bob's Burgers. I'll give that one half a point. I gave her a little bit longer flowing hair. I feel like with this look at this age, she will be more into her looks and she kind of knows she's cute, you know? Here it is, my pink character, Louise Belcher. I loved this challenge. It took me a little bit of time, but here is the whole color wheel. I think it looks great. Let me know in the comments down below which character is your favorite. Mine is Raven from Teen Titans. Let me know if you want me to do this again with different characters. Remember to hit like and subscribe. And if you like this video, I have other art challenge videos that I do all the time. You can watch one right here. Remember to click the bell so you don't miss anything. And remember, I'm awesome. Thanks for watching.